limpish and peaceful down, the slow black, crow black, fishing boat bobbing sea. And the houses are bland as moles, although moles see fine tonight in the snouting velvet dingle, or blind as Captain Cat, there in the muffled middle, by the pump and the town clock, the shops in mourning, the welfare hall in widow's weeds, and all the people of the lulled and dumbfound town are sleeping now.
Hush, the babies are sleeping. The farmers, the fishers, the tradesmen and pensioners, cobbler, school teacher, postman and publican, the undertaker and the fancy woman, drunkard, dressmaker, preacher, policeman, the webfoot cocklewoman and the tidy wives, young girls are made soft, or alive in their dreams of rings and trousseaux, bridesmaided by glowworms down the aisles of the organ playing wood. The boys are dreaming of wicked, or of the plucky matches of the night and the jolly rod at sea. The anthracite statues of the horses sleep in the fields, and the cows in the byres, and the dogs in the wet-nosed yards, and the cats nap in the slant corners of low slab, streaking, needling on the one cloud of the roofs. You can hear the dew falling, the hushed town breathing. Only your eyes unclosed see the black and folded town, fast and slow asleep. And you alone hear the invisible sparkle, the darkest before dawn, minutely dew-grey stir of the black, backfield sea, where the Arethusa, the curlew, and the skylark, Zanzibar, Rihanna, the rover, cormorant, and the starved whales, tilt and lie.
Listen, it is night, moving in the streets. The processional salt, slow, musical wind in Coronation Street and Cockle Road. It is the grass on Larigob Hill. Dewfall, starfall, sleep of birds in the wood.
Listen, it's night in the chill, squat chapel, hymning in bonnet and brooch, and bombazine black, butterfly choker, and bootlace bow. 40 winking hallelujah, night in the forum, quiet as a domino, in Ocky Milkman's loft, like a mouse, blood. In Dye bakery, flying like black flour, it is tonight in Donkey Street, trotting silent with seaweed on its hooves, along the cockled cobbles, past curtain fern pot, text and trinket, harmonium, holy dresser, watercolours done by hand, china dog, and rosy tin tea caddy.
Look, it is night, dumbly, royally, winding through the coronation cherry trees, going through the graveyard of the Tessin with wings gloved with folded and dew docked, tumbling by the sailor's arm.
Time passes. Listen. Time passes. Come closer now. Only you can hear the houses sleeping in the streets, in the slow, deep salt and silent black bandaged night. Only you can see in the blinded bedrooms the combs and petticoats over the chairs, the jugs and basins, the glasses of teeth. Thou shalt not on the wall, and the yellowing dicky bird watching pictures of the dead. Only you can hear and see behind the eyes of the sleepers, the movements and countries and mazes and colours and dismays and rainbows and tunes and wishes and flight and fall and despairs and the big seas of their dreams. From where you are, you can hear their dreams. From where you are, you can hear in Cockle Row, in the spring moonless night, Miss Price, dressmaker and sweet shopkeeper, dream of her lover, tall as the town clock tower, Samson syrup gold mane, whacking thighed and piping hot. Thunderbolt basted, barnacle breasted, flailing up the cockles, with water bottle body. Miss Van, we praise. Mr. Edwards. I am a draper, mad with love. I love you more than all the flannelette and calico, candlewick, dimity, crash, and merino. Tussore, creton, crepon, muslin, poplin, tickling, and twill, in the whole porthole of my world. I have come to take you away to my emporium on the hill, where the change hums on the wires. Throw away your little bed socks and your Welsh wool knitted jacket. I will warm the sheets like an electric toaster. I will lie by your side, like the Sunday roast.
I will knit you a wallet for getting up blue, for the money to be comfy. I will warm your heart by the fire, so you can slip into your vest when the shop is closed.
Miss Fanwy, before the mice gnaw at your bottom drawer, will you say,
Yes, Mum, yes, Mum, yes, yes, yes.
and all the bells in the tills of the town shall ring for our wedding?
Now in her iceberg white, holily laundered crinoline nightgown, under virtuous polo sheets, in trig and trim bay view, a house for paying guests at the top of the town. Mrs. Ogmore Pritchard, widow, twice, of Mr. Ogmore, linoleum, retired.
And Mr. Pritchard, veiled bookmaker, who, maddened by besoming, scrubbing, and swabbing, the voice of the vacuum cleaner, ironically swallowed disinfectant, fidgets in her rinsed sleep, wakes in a dream, and nudges in the ribs, dead Mr. Ogmore, dead Mr. Pritchard, ghostly on each side.
Mr. Ogmore, Mr. Pritchard, it's time to inhale your balsam.
Oh, Mrs. Ogmore.
Oh, Mrs. Pritchard. Soon it will be time to get up. Tell me your tasks. In order.
I must put my pyjamas in the drawer marked pyjamas.
I must take my cold bath, which is good for me.
I must wear my flannel band to ward off sciatica.
I must dress behind the curtain and put on my apron.
I must blow my nose.
In the garden, if you
Please, in a piece of tissue paper which I afterwards burn.
I must take my salt, which is nature's friend.
I must boil the drinking water because of germs.
I must make my herb tea, which is free from tannin.
And have a charcoal biscuit which is good for me.
I may smoke one pipe of asthma mixture.
in the woodshed, if you please.
And dust the parlour and spray the canary.
I must put on rubber gloves and search the peak for fleas.
I must dust the blinds and then I must raise them.
And before you let the sun in, mind it wipes its shoes.
Butcher Biners, cassava miner, doctor, schoolteacher, dreaming deep, dainty ferrets, and a fluttering hummock of chicken's feathers in slaughterhouse that has chintz curtains, three-piece suite, and finds, with no surprise, a small, rough and ready man with a bushy tail, winking in a paper carriage.
Willy-nilly postman, asleep up street, walks 14 miles to deliver the post, as he does every day of the night. And the inspector of cruelty flies down into Mrs. Butcher Bainan's jeep to persecute Mr. Bainan for selling.
Owl's face, dog's eyes, man shop!
Mr. Bainan, in Butcher's bloodied apron, spring heels down Coronation Street, a finger, not his own, in his mouth. Straight face in his cunning sleep, calls the legs of his dreams, and,
Riding on pigback, shoots down the wild giblets.
The owls are hunting. Look over the desert gravestones. One swoops and catches a mouse by Hannah Ree's beloved wife. And in Coronation Street, which you alone can see, as it is so dark and chatting in the skies, the Reverend Eli Jenkins, poet, preacher, turns in his deep towards dawn sleep and dreams of, I stand for thou.
Mr. Hugh, schoolmaster, fast asleep, tends to his sleep, spies Foxy round the droop of his nightcap, and whistles up.
Murder!
In Donkey Street, so furred with sleep, Diebread, Polly Garter, Noga Boyo, and Lord Cutlass sigh before the dawn that is about to be, and dream
by Mrs. Vining's Billy, you can see all the town below you sleeping in the first door. You can hear the lovesick wood pigeons mooning in bed. A dog barks in his sleep, the farmyard's away. The town ripples like a lake in the waking cave.
The principality of the skies lighten now over our green hill, larking and crowing and belling. One by one, our sleepers are rung awake, this morning as every morning.
The Reverend Eli Jenkins gropes out of bed into his preacher's black, combs back his bard's white hair, forgets to wash, pads barefoot downstairs, opens the front door, stands in the doorway, and, looking out at the day and up at the eternal hill, hearing the sea brave and the gab of birds, remembers his own verses and tells them softly to empty Coronation Street that is rising and raising its blinds.
Duke warrior, I know there are towns lovelier than ours, and fairer hills and loftier fires, and groves more full of flowers. The bosky wood more bright with spring, and bright with birds adoring. The sweeter birds that I to sing their praise this beauteous morning.
The Reverend Jenkins closes his front door. His morning service is over.
Me and Miss Price in my pretty print housecoat, decked at the clothes I Natalie's genuine. Then pip-pat back to my egg in its cosy, my crisp toast fingers, my homemade plum, and butter pat.
Now, woken at last by the out-of-bed sleepyhead, Polly, put on the kettle, town hall bell. Lily Smalls, Mrs. Bynum's treasure, comes downstairs, a beam of royalty, full of sauce in milkwood dye, puts the kettle on Mrs. Bynum's kindness ring, and looks at herself in Mr. Bynum's shaving glass over the sink, and says,
Oh, there's a face. Where do you get that hair from? I got it from an old tomcat. Give it back then, love. Oh, there's a perm. Where'd you get that nose from, Lily? I got it from my father, silly. You've got it on upside down. Oh, there's a conch. Look at your complexion. Oh, no. You look... Needs a bit of makeup. Needs a veil. Oh, there's glamour. Where you get that smile, Lil? Never you, my girl. Nobody loves you. That's what you think.
And softly, her lips almost touching her reflection, she breathes the name and clouds the shaving glass.
Lily? Yes, Mum? Where is my tiger? Where do you think? In the cat box coming up, Mum.
Mr. Pugh in the schoolhouse opposite takes up the morning tea to Mrs. Pugh and whispers on the stairs.
Here's your arsenic, dear, and your weed killer biscuit. I've throttled the parakeet, I've spat in the vases, I've put cheese in the mouse holes. Here's your nice tea, dear.
Too much sugar.
You haven't tasted it yet, dear.
Too much milk then. Has Mr. Jenkins in his poetry?
Yes, dear.
Then it's time to get up. Give me my glasses. No, not my reading glasses. I want to look out. I want to see.
You see artillery, ox-broad, barge-booted, stomping out of Tangled House in a deep red coat. Black brown under his black helmet.
He's going to arrest Polly Garter. Mark my words.
What for, my dear?
For having babies.
Me! Dye bread! Hurrying to the bakery! Tucking in my shirt tails! Button in my waistcoat! Hayden goes a pudding!
remembers ground glass as he juggles his omelette.
Mrs. Pugh nags the salt cellar. Willy-nilly postman
Downs his last bucket of black brackish tea and rumbles out Bambi to the cooking bath, where the hens twitch and breathe for their tea-soaked sobs.
Mrs. Willy-nilly, full of tea to her double-chinned grim broods, and boils over her coffin of kettles on the hissing hot range,
Always ready to steam open the mail.
the Reverend Eli Jenkins finds a rhyme and dips his pen in his cocoa. Lord cut glass in his ticking kitchen, scampers from cock to cock. A bunch of cock keys in one hand, a fish head in the other. From Butcher Bannon's in Coronation Street, the smell of fried liver sidles out with onions on its breath. And listen, in the dark breakfast room behind the house, Mr. and Mrs. Bynum wait upon by their treasure, enjoy, between bites, their every morning hullabaloo, and Mrs. Bynum slips the gristly bits under the tassel tablecloth to her fat cat.
She likes the liver then.
Your two best sets of brothers.
Did you hear?
Yes, Mum.
Are you eating pusscat?
Yes, Mum.
Oh, you cat butcher!
It was doctors.
What's that got to do with it?
Yesterday we had more.
Oh, Lily, Lily.
Monday otter, Tuesday shrews.
Go on, Mrs. Biden. He's the biggest liar in town.
Now, don't you dare say that about Mr. Biden.
Everyone knows it, Mum.
You never tell a lie, do you, Ben?
No, Bess. And now I'm after the corgis with my little cleaver.
Upstream in the Sailor's Arm, sing then sailors. The ship's clock in the bar says 11:30. 11:30 opening time. The hands of the clock have stayed at 11:30 for nearly 50 years. It is always opening time in the Sailor's Arm.
Who's to be? Sinbad!
And in the town the shops squeak open. Mr. Edwards, in butterfly collar and straw hat, measures with his eye the dawdlers by. The striped flannel shirts and shrouds and flowery blouses bellows to himself in the darkness behind his eye. I love Miss Price. Willy-nilly postman doing his rounds.
Good morning, Mrs. Osmond Pritchard.
Good morning, postman.
Here's a letter for you, stamped and addressed envelope enclosed. A gentleman wants to study birds, and can he have accommodation for 2 weeks? A bath vegetarian?
No!
You wouldn't know he was in the house, Mrs. Osmond Pritchard. He'd be out in the mornings at the bank door with his bag of breadcrumbs and his little
I
telescope.
come home at all, I was covered with feathers. I don't want persons in my nice clean rooms breathing all over the chairs.
Cross my heart, he won't breathe.
And putting their feet on my carpet and sneezing on my china and sleeping in my sheets.
He only wants a single bed, Mrs. Osmond Pritchard. Morning, Mrs. Pugh. Mrs. Osmond Pritchard won't have a man in from Wilf Wells because he'll sleep in her sheets. Miss Rose Cottage's sister, in Garcis's twins, has to have them out.
Give me the parcel.
It's for Mr. Pugh, Mrs. Pugh.
Never mind. What's inside it?
A book called Lives of the Great Poisoners.
There's a cliff of horses in the humming streets, gobbled back and cattle, Tom to twitter in the bird outs and boughs, grey young down. Bread bakes, pigs grunt, chop goes the butcher, milk churns, bell tills ring, sheep's cough, dogs shout, saws sing.
Oh, the spring winning and morning move from the clog dancing farms, the gulls gabbing rabble on the boat-bobbing river and sea, and the cockles bubbling in the sand. Scamper of sandy in the Mrs. Alden Morgan's general shop, where everything was sold. Custard, bucket, henna, rat traps, shrimp nets, sugar, paraffin, hatchets, whistle.
Mrs. Ogmore Pritchard.
La-di-da.
Got mine from Bothwell.
I've got a little telescope to look at. Birds, willy-nilly said. Remember my first husband? He didn't need a telescope.
He used to look at them when dressing through the keyhole.
And he used to shout, tally-ho! But Mr. Ogmore was a proper gentleman.
Even though he hanged his colleague.
Oh. Seen Mrs. Butcher-Bang? She said Butcher-Bang put the dogs in the mincer.
Go on, he's pulling a leg.
Now don't you dare tell her that. There's a dear. Or she'll think he's trying to pull it off and eat it. There's a nasty lot live here when you come to think.
Look at that, no good boy now.
Too lazy to wipe his snout. And going out fishing every day. And all he ever brought back was in Mrs. Samuel's.
Been in the water a week.
And a book at Ocky Milkman's wife that nobody's ever seen.
Keeps her in the cupboard with the empties.
And think of Di Bed with 2 wives. One for the day and one for the night. Men are brutes on the quiet. And how's Organ Morgan, Mrs. Morgan?
You look deadbeat.
It's organ, organ, all the time with him. Up every night until midnight playing the organ.
And the morning school is
And the
over.
morning school is over, and the naughty forfeiting children tumble and ride on cobbles.
When he calls the boys to make such a noise.
Boys, 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 come along to me.
Boys, 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 kiss Gwenny when she says you're ready. Go on, Gwenny.
Kiss me, goose got lane, or give me a penny. What's your name?
Billy.
Kiss me, goose got lane, Billy, or give me a penny, silly.
Mwah! Gwenny, I kiss you in Goosegog Lane. I haven't got to give you a penny. Boys, 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 kiss Gwenny when she says if you're a penny. Go on, Gwenny.
Kiss me, Coward Hill, or give me a penny. What's your name?
Johnny Crystal.
Kiss me, Coward Hill, Johnny Christo, or give me a penny, mister.
Mwah! Gwenny, I kiss you in Larry Bill. Now I haven't got to give you a penny. Boys, 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 kiss Gwenny when she says if you're a penny. Go on, Gwenny.
Kiss me, Milkwood, or give me a penny. What's your name?
Dickie,
Kiss me, Milkwood, Dickie, or give me a penny. Quickly.
Gwenny, I can't kiss you in Milk Woods.
Gwenny asked him why.
Why?
My mother says I mustn't.
Pouty, pouty custard, give Gwenny a penny.
Give me a penny.
Haven't got any.
Put him in the river, up to his liver. Quick, quick, dirty Dick, beat him on the bum with a broom box in it.
In the blind drawn, dark dining room, school house, dusty and echoing as the dining room in a vault, Mr. and Mrs. Pugh silent over cold, grey cottage pie. Mr. Pugh reads, as he forks his jam meat in, the lives of the great poisoners, slyly between slow mouthfuls, he sideslides up at Mrs. Pugh and poisons her with his eye, then goes on reading. He underlines certain passages and smiles in secret.
Persons with manners do not read at table.
She snaps. She swallows a digestive tablet as big as a horse pill and washes it down with cloudy pea soup water.
Some persons were brought up in pigsties.
Pigs don't read at table, dear.
Bitterly, she flicks dust from the broken thread. It settles on the pie in a thin mat ray.
Pigs can't read, my dear.
I know one who can.
Alone. In the hissing laboratory of his wishes, Mr. Pugh minces among bad vats and jeroboams, tiptoes through spinnings of murdering herbs, agony dancing in his crucibles, and mixes especially for Mrs. Pugh, a venomous porridge, unknown to toxologists, which will scold and viper through her until her ears fall off like figs, her toes grow big and black as balloons, and steam comes screaming out of her navel! You know best, dear. Quick as a flash, he dunks her in rat soup.
What's that book by your trough, Mr. Pugh?
It's a theological work, my dear. Lives of the great saints.
She smiles, and icicle falls from the cold air of the dying fall.
The sunny, slow, lulling afternoon yawns and moons through the dozy town. The meadows are still a Sunday, the shut-out tassels wolves, and the goat and daisy dingoes, now happy and lazy. Clouds sag and pillow clouds of hills.
Persons with manners do not nod at table.
Mr. Pugh cringes away. He puts on a soft, sulky smile.
You should wait until you retire to your style,
Says Mrs. Pugh, sweet as a raisin. Mr. Pugh's measly quarter smile disappears.
Sly and silent, he foxes into his chemist's den, and there, in a hiss and prussic circle of cauldrons and phials, brimful with pox and the Black Death, cooks up a fricassee of deadly nightshade, nicotine, hot frog, cyanide, and bat spit for his needling stalactite hag and bednag of a poker-backed nutcracker wife. I beg your pardon, my dear?
He murmurs with a wheedle.
The Reverend Eli Jenkins, inky in his cool brick parlour of Owen, tells only the truth in his life words.
Oh, angels, be careful. They're with your knives and forks.
He prays.
Poor Dad.
Grieved the Reverend Eli.
To drink to die of agriculture. Oh, let us see another day, and bless this holy night, I pray. And to the sun we all will bow, and say goodbye, but just for now.